on till the early morning, girl, it's all good, just turn me on. Well, I'm on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. Tell me the message and I got to know which one is gonna catch my flow. They told me now you drop top, girl, you not stop shop, girl. Think of more than just to one rock that.
You know, my father had recently passed, so I get all these words started to come in. True love never fails, love never falls, real love conquers all. And lyrics in there were actually my family talking to me, myself also. I'll be there to give you what you need. I support your causes selflessly.
Have you ever wondered why Sean Paul suddenly disappeared from American pop music after dominating the charts for years? Before this video ends, you'll discover how Jay-Z allegedly blacklisted him from ever performing with Beyoncé again, after their on-stage chemistry became impossible to ignore. And just wait until you hear the shocking twist. The moment a Russian oligarch offered him $3 million, an offer so controversial that it pushed Sean Paul to refuse ever performing Baby Boy again. January 9, 1973. Kingston, Jamaica. Sean Paul Ryan Francis Henriques was born into a world that didn't quite know where to place him. His mother, Frances, painted in her studio. His father, Garth, ran a successful import business. Portuguese, Jewish, Chinese, and Afro-Caribbean heritage all ran through his bloodline. In Jamaica's deeply color-coded society, that combination meant something strange. You were both everybody and nobody at the same time. Growing up in the upscale neighborhood of St. Andrew, Sean Paul attended Walmer's Boys School, surrounded by students expected to become lawyers, doctors, and professionals. Speaking patois in class could get you detention. Listening to Yellowman could get you suspended. But when night fell, everything changed. From the streets of downtown Kingston, deep bass lines thundered through the city, echoing from neighborhoods his parents warned him never to visit. By the age of 15, Sean Paul was living two completely different lives. By day, he was a national-level swimming champion, training with Jamaica's top athletes and even showing Olympic potential. But by night, he became something entirely different, a quiet observer of Kingston's underground dancehall scene. He slipped into places like Waterhouse and Tivoli Gardens, neighborhoods where his lighter skin instantly made him stand out and sometimes made him a target. This was where his story took an unexpected turn. At the time, Sean Paul was one of Jamaica's most promising young swimmers, training relentlessly for international competitions. But the constant exposure to chlorine began destroying something even more valuable than medals: his voice. So in 1991, at just 18 years old, Sean Paul made a decision that changed the course of his life forever. He walked away from swimming for good. And decades later, when he finally reflected on that moment, his words revealed just how painful and necessary that decision truly was.
I was a swimmer. I did play water polo for Jamaica, both sports. But then also I tried to play tennis. I say try.
Right. Yeah.
I tried to play basketball. I got friends in different circles, and one of my friends actually started to do music, and I was like, yo, I want to do that.
From 1992 to 1996, Sean Paul became almost like a ghost in the studio. For 4 years, he sat quietly in the corners, watching Beanie Man and Bounty Killer record, barely saying a word, simply absorbing everything around him. Then in November 1996, his first single, Baby Girl, was released with producer Jeremy Harding. The response was devastating. Radio stations refused to play it. They said it sounded too polished, not Jamaican enough. Some even compared him to Snow, the white Canadian reggae artist. Even well-known producers said those words directly to his face.
It's people that hear, big producers hear me and look for me and say, you sound like Snow. And me begs when him telling me that,
From 1992 to 1996, Sean Paul became a ghost in the studio. For 4 long years, he sat silently in the corners, watching Beanie Man and Bounty Killer record, never saying much, just taking everything in. He studied every rhythm, every delivery, every movement. Then in November 1996, his first single,
March 28,
Baby Girl,
2000,
was released
Stage
with
1.
producer Jeremy Harding. Instead of opening doors, the reaction crushed him. Radio stations refused to play it. They said it sounded too clean, not Jamaican enough. Some even compared him to Snow, the white Canadian reggae artist. And what made it worse was that these weren't just whispers behind his back. Prominent producers said it directly to his face.
Before the video shoot, I was told I'm not in any scene with her, which to me at the time, the way I was thinking about the video was totally different. I thought we were gonna kind of act something out. So
But rejection became fuel. Sean Paul began developing his signature rapid-fire patois style. He wasn't trying to sound like Bounty Killer or Beanie Man. He was creating something completely his own, a flow nobody else could ride. Then came March 28, 2000. His debut album, Stage 1, barely made an impact outside Jamaica, but Sean Paul kept pushing forward. Then 2002 changed everything with Duddy Rock. Gimme the Light exploded on American urban radio before Jamaica had even fully caught on. And the secret behind that slurred, unmistakable delivery everyone loved was unexpected. He recorded it at 4:00 in the morning after being awake for 36 straight hours. Pure exhaustion ended up creating the trademark sound that would define him. 6 million albums sold worldwide. Get Busy hit #1 across the globe. In a matter of months, Sean Paul went from unknown to impossible to ignore. But success brought problems he never expected. Everywhere he went, people assumed he was Latino. The confusion followed him constantly.
Rock.
Even technology struggled to understand his accent. Just watch what happens when Big Boy puts it to the test with Siri.
Just give me the lights and pass the joe.
In January 2003, the phone rang. It was Beyonce's team. She wanted Sean Paul to collaborate on a track called Baby Boy. The recording session in Miami created something powerful, something almost dangerous. Their chemistry felt too real, even for the cameras. The result was unstoppable. The song stayed at #1 for 9 weeks, becoming one of the biggest hits of their careers. But what happened next raised eyebrows. Suddenly, Sean Paul was removed from performances, edited out of promotional videos, and quietly kept away from award shows where Beyonce was scheduled to appear. During their only live performance together, his microphone was mysteriously cut off mid-show.
Sean Paul.
Here's the bombshell the industry never wanted discussed. Jay-Z allegedly stepped in personally. According to multiple sources, calls were made behind the scenes to ensure Sean Paul would never perform with Beyonce again. Their chemistry had become too obvious. The threat felt too real. And just like that, one powerful man may have derailed Sean Paul's pop trajectory to protect his relationship. After Baby Boy, Beyonce never publicly acknowledged Sean Paul again. No reunion performances, no anniversary tributes, no celebration of the song that became such a massive part of both their careers. It was as if he had been erased from that chapter of her history. And across American pop, people seemed to understand the message. Working with Sean Paul could come with problems, especially if it meant crossing paths with the Carters. But 2003 still had more in store. Get Busy became even bigger, reaching #1 in more than 20 countries. With that level of success came relentless pressure from his record label. They wanted more attention, more noise, more spectacle. They were willing to push him toward almost anything if it meant keeping the momentum alive. And what one label executive suggested he do to promote his music was absolutely unbelievable.
Oh, you know what happens to me? I'm in Miami and I go to the pharmacy or something and say, do you have this? And they're like, you shouldn't deny your culture, man. They just don't know. They think I'm Latin.
While celebrating that success, something happened in Amsterdam that almost nobody talks about. In August 2003, during a live performance, a Jamaican man hurled a glass bottle at Sean Paul's head, missing him by only inches. Security quickly restrained the attacker. But what Sean Paul did next stunned everyone. Instead of demanding revenge or having the man thrown out, he invited him backstage. For 3 hours they talked. The man told him he felt betrayed, that Sean Paul had abandoned dancehall by crossing into pop. And somehow, by the end of that conversation, everything had changed. Sean Paul gave him money for a flight back home. Today, that same man runs one of Jamaica's biggest sound systems. And to this day, he has never revealed what Sean Paul said to him that night. Then came 2005, when Temperature became Sean Paul's last truly massive global hit, reaching #1 in 15 countries. But while filming the video, he received news that changed his perspective forever. His father, Garth, had been diagnosed with kidney disease.
Hey, Annie, what's up? Call Big Boy for me now.
And what did it say on there?
He said, call Big Boy, but it didn't say the for me now.
Right.
The industry can't understand why Sean Paul starts declining million-dollar collaborations. Rihanna wants him on Umbrella, he says no. Justin Timberlake reaches out, he passes. Christina Aguilera offers massive money, not interested. He's home in Jamaica, driving his father to dialysis 3 times a week. Music means nothing compared to family. When asked about his lifestyle and how he stays looking young, Jean Paul reveals his secret.
I was promoting a song at the time called When It Comes to You. Great piece of vocal performance from myself, if I do say so myself, right? Me I sing out my heart upon the chorus, and me I spit in on the verse them, right? Me said to the man, so are you telling me that if I tattoo the words of the song upon my dick and post it on Instagram, and him say, I'm not going to tell you what to do, mate. I'm going to say, that's suck your mother.
But Sean Paul doesn't just show up and smoke weed. Everywhere he goes, he brings gifts. Just look at what he brought with him when he walked into Big Boy's studio. Then his father made one final request. Stop hiding behind the music. If you're going to do this, do it fully or don't do it at all. 3 weeks later, Garth Henriques passed away. His funeral brought all of Jamaica together. Uptown and downtown. Politicians and gangsters. They weren't there for Sean Paul, the superstar. They were there for G's son. Then came 2012, and with it, a different kind of comeback. Sean Paul returned, but this time he was changed. He married TV host Jodie Stewart Henriques, finding a sense of stability far from the chaos of the spotlight. Their son, Levi, was born in 2017. Their daughter, Remy, followed in 2019. And the way his children respond to his fame, and the way they use it, reveals a side of Sean Paul most people have never seen.
When I was in my 20s, it was kind of weird between me and him, and then we became very good friends after that.
That's good.
So, yeah.
And he got
I have those
your
memories.
success?
Yes, he did.
Oh, that's good.
That's really important.
That's cool.
Here's the shocking truth about Sean Paul's choices. In 2014, a Russian oligarch reportedly offered him $3 million for a single private performance. But there was a condition. He had to perform Baby Boy and other songs from his pop-era catalog. Sean Paul turned it down immediately. In fact, he hasn't performed Baby Boy in full since 2010. Then in 2016, something unexpected happened. Jo reached out to him for cheap thrills. At first, Sean Paul almost said no. But something about her approach felt different. It didn't feel opportunistic, it felt genuine. She wasn't using him for credibility. She truly loved dancehall. And that made all the difference. The song went on to become a global smash. Then came the pandemic, and with it, another surprise. While many artists struggled, Sean Paul thrived. His streaming numbers soared. A whole new generation found him on TikTok, often without knowing anything about the history behind his career. But there's one thing that still deeply frustrates him. Too many reggaeton artists have made millions by borrowing from dancehall, while refusing to acknowledge where the sound truly came from. And when he speaks about that cultural theft, his words are raw, direct, and impossible to ignore.
Smoke.
Yeah, actually coming out of my mouth, I think I knew the answer.
Smoke, listen to my own music, very narcissistic guy.
But he does.
Sean Paul has strong thoughts about modern music, too. According to him, many of today's new artists can't even play instruments anymore.
They think I'm named FaceTime.
Right.
Like, bro, when you coming on? My daughter's like, why are you so famous, bro?
Yeah.
His
And
daughter.
don't even get him started on modern dancehall artists who refuse to create clean versions of their songs for younger audiences. Sean Paul believes DJs and artists carry a responsibility, especially when their music reaches kids.
Alexa.
The daughter, she had 3-year-old at the time. She's 5 now. She says, Daddy, can I have some orange juice? I said, all right, love. Soon come. I turn for walk to the fridge. You hear her now? Daddy. And she watch the TV, you know. I stop and say, yeah. She say, where's my orange juice? I say, I ain't an iPad, yo.
Here's the hard truth. Dancehall holds only 3% of the global music market. Just 3%. While artists argue over who deserves the crown, the reality is that the entire genre is slowly fading. But here's what the industry rarely talks about. Since 2009, Sean Paul has owned all of his masters. While so many artists are still fighting for control of their work, he quietly moved in the opposite direction, buying everything back just as his commercial peak began to fade. Then in 2022, Scorcha proved he hadn't lost a thing. Released independently through his own Dutty Rock Productions, the album debuted at #1 on the Billboard Reggae Albums chart. Today, Sean Paul tours selectively and entirely on his own terms. In 2024, he spent 5 months on the road, but with strict limits. He keeps tour to no more than 2 weeks at a time so he can protect what matters most, time with his family. And even now, he's busier than ever. New collaborations are dropping constantly, almost month after month. His current projects are turning heads in every direction. A Tyler Lepley remix that could shake up R&B, collaborations with Romanian superstar INNA climbing the European charts, and new rhythms being built with legendary producer Dave Kelly, the mastermind behind Showtime and Pepperseed.
You know, one of my friends actually started to do music, and I was like, yo, I want to do that. Big up to Don Youth. He's somebody who was my age. He was in the same school as me. He was table tennis champion. I was swimming champion. And then he started to do his thing, and I started to follow them around to the studios and be a fly on the wall for like a while.
The Daddy Cup football tournament returned bigger than ever, pumping money directly into communities across downtown Kingston. At the same time, his recording studio began operating as a nonprofit space, giving struggling artists the chance to record their music completely free. Through his businesses, more than 50 Jamaicans are now employed full-time, creating opportunities far beyond the music itself.
As a responsible DJ, if you could have the option to say, let me flip this, it means only 3% of the buying public is buying the music. Stay in my country, I produce younger artists, I build rhythms, I try to influence good DJs to play both sides of the song.
But here, the hidden project almost nobody knows about. Sean Paul is reportedly financing a documentary designed to expose the real history of dancehall, who got paid, who got robbed, and who truly created the sound. He's funding it himself to keep it free from censorship. And that's not all. Behind the scenes, he is also said to be ghostwriting for 3 major pop stars, artists desperate for Caribbean authenticity, yet unwilling to credit him publicly. So when Sean Paul is finally asked who the true king of dancehall is, his answer carries the kind of truth that can silence an entire room.
A song called Bring It on a rhythm when we have, and we put that in it and we put it down. So when the conversation come up with Dave now, I said to my G, them say, yo, can flip on the rhythm there, you know, dash on my rhythm and take that song there, and we did. Change the key, because apparently the Showtime rhythm was in A minor, and I never really liked that. So I switch, and then I speed it up a little bit, a few BPM.
As of 2024, Sean Paul's net worth is estimated at around $25 million. For someone with his level of success, that number might seem surprisingly low. But there's a reason for it. Sean Paul owns everything: his masters, his publishing, his studios, and even his distribution. While many artists are still fighting over small pieces of their work, he quietly bought back his entire catalog at a time when the industry believed his career was already over.
Dancehall is the king, and I serve the king. Because you can have a king and him don't have no army, you know. Dancehall is the king. And right now the king, the king staff, hold on. Yeah, all of that is what I'm saying. Because we all came and do our part. But the king staff is broken and lean down on him. The cloak, it dirty up. You understand?
The light-skinned boy who was considered too polished for dancehall and too Jamaican for pop ended up creating a universe entirely his own. Sean Paul didn't just cross over. He built a permanent bridge between worlds. He conquered pop music at its absolute peak, then stepped away before it could consume him. He chose family over fame, ownership over validation, and Jamaica over everything. The swimmer who once gave up the pool for music still makes waves to this day. Only now, he does it in waters he controls completely. Sean Paul's story proves that you can reach the top of the mountain, plant your flag, and still climb back down on your own terms. In an industry that eventually destroys almost everyone, Sean Paul did something almost impossible. He survived with his soul intact.